I know you want the drama right away, but if you skip around, you will miss the context. So please watch this entire video so you'll be on my side when the drama begins. This whole situation began because Helmholtz and I were intrigued when we heard that there was a new speaker manufacturer at Expona 2023 called Craftsmen. They are located in Toronto, Canada, and they are direct-to-consumer brand, not sold in stores. So you'll have to check out the links in the description to find out more about them and their products. Links which pay me not 1 red cent. I never profit off my subscribers. I profit off my parents' Social Security. Craftsmen offers 4 speakers. I'm reviewing the Laval speakers at $19.99. Going up the price scale, these are the Lavals. They also offer the Victoria bookshelf at $39.99 a pair, the Kingston floor standing speakers at $49.99, and the Halifax floor standers at $64.99. All come with free shipping. If you need stands for the bookshelf speakers, they offer 3 simply named: stands 21, stands 25, and stands 29. The number is the height of the stand in inches, as they are all fixed height. They also offer a 45-day in-home trial, which allows for about 30 days of in-home listening. Because after you do the recommended scientific audiophile 250 hours of pink noise break-in, you'll be down to only 30 days. But that means you'll still be able to listen to 20 hours of Diane Bish to meet the 600 hours of recommended listening before you need to make a decision if you're going to keep the Lavals or any of the Craftsmen speakers. I can't tell you the number of times my dad has watched tens of thousands of dollars wasted on products that I absolutely hated because their short 10-day return windows have come and gone before I could even finish the 250-hour pink noise break-in period, let alone do any listening tests. Lastly, should you decide to keep the speakers, you can be worry-free for 10 years with their very generous warranty provided. Now, on to the Laval review. Craftsmen calls the color of this speaker rustic orange. I believe it's a different color, which I'll talk about at the conclusion of this video review. So keep this in mind for later. But for now, know that the Laval can be ordered in 8 different colors, as seen here, and you may even be able to choose a custom color by contacting the company. It has a 7-inch woofer and a 1-inch tweeter, all imported from Europe. There is no unimportant part of a speaker. It's not like an amplifier where you choose to, say, omit the VU meters to save on costs because the VU meters don't affect the sound quality. So the first thing you look at in a speaker is a cabinet. Wrapping my knuckles doesn't do anything more than hurt my knuckles. So it was time for our bone test. We take out our handy dandy, sorry about that, Helmholtz, bone speaker, which turns hollow things, or things that vibrate, into speakers by vibrating them. We use this test to determine how inert a speaker cabinet is. The more inert, the better. You do not want your speaker cabinet vibrating and adding to the color of the sound. So we begin by playing some pink noise. Don't use music. Not only does the decibel range constantly change, but it's not playing from 20 to 20,000. So if your speaker cabinet has a specific frequency that resonates, your music track might not be playing that frequency and it won't show up. So let's take a look at our bone test results for the Laval and for some reference objects. Okay, so here we are, 1 foot away from our Hummingbird speaker, and let's see what the sound level it's producing. Obviously my voice is in the 40s. Okay, now we're going to take the Hummingbird speaker and we're going to put it onto the soapstone itself, 1 foot away. See what kind of level we get. So the Lavals have a great cabinet, but how do they sound? When I contacted Tom at Audio Craftsmen, he doesn't like to specify towing in, towing out, location, etc. He'd rather leave it up to you, the listener, to kind of figure out where in your room they sound best. I can tell you that they're rear ported, so give them a minimum of a foot or two from a wall. I told them in slightly. There's lots of important parts about a speaker. Imaging is one. The first thing you'll notice about the Lavals is they can play an instrument or a voice exactly where it belongs. There are some very good test songs for this, but I think one of the best is a test track from the Sheffield test disc, track number 25, 3 people describing position on a soundstage in stereo. However, I've heard plenty of speakers that when set up using this track still don't dissolve from the scene, leaving just the music. It's not an easy item to describe, but some speakers just let you know they're still on the left and right of you. Not the Lavals. These speakers simply disappear in your room. I use them to watch the Shogun series that's on Hulu right now, and I had to get up twice during the first episode to make absolutely sure that I didn't accidentally still have the soundbar under the TV still on, because the dialogue was so well placed. But when it got loud, you knew this wasn't a soundbar. That's when I had to get up and make sure the subwoofer wasn't on, because these played way deeper than I expected for a 7-inch driver. The soundstage was phenomenal. Far wider than the speaker placement. I had them about 6.5 feet apart. Immersive is the only word I can use. You felt you were simply in the pews listening to Diane Bish go all medieval on her organ, because these things put out a soundstage that was literally as big as a cathedral. Speakers are the most likely place you're going to hear sibilance. The drivers are trying to stop and start, then stop and start all over again. And when that happens, you hear a smearing. Rebecca Pidgeon's Spanish Harlem is my go-to song to test for sibilance, and I test loud, 96 to 100 dBs, from 2 meters away. These things are getting cranked. And the Lavals fall into the absolutely excellent category. When we talk about bass extension, as I said earlier, I had to check to make sure my subwoofer wasn't on. These are only bookshelf speakers and are graced with a 7-inch woofer, because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So you're going to have to wait for the measurements to understand the fact that I could literally feel the bass coming from bookshelf speakers from 2 meters away. Now, in a two-way bookshelf design, you're waiting to see where the engineer made a compromise, because between bass, mid-range, and treble, well, it definitely wasn't the mid-range where they made their compromise, because male vocals, guitar, and instruments of all kinds literally floated in the room. Sound was effortless. I found myself getting my best engineered musical recordings, even if I didn't like that music, just because it was the best I could find that would allow the Lavals to show off their ability. For those of you who don't understand the idea of what I'm talking about playing bad music that's recorded well, just ask anyone why the Golf Channel for high-definition programming was so popular when high-definition TVs first came out. It wasn't because people liked golf. They were just grabbing the very best video they could find to show off their TVs. I was doing that with the Lavals because I couldn't believe how good these sounded. Now, treble. This is where I was expecting the problem in treble extension. After all, you can't play low and that well in a relatively small bookshelf speaker and expect to get great treble extension when you've already gotten the mid-range right. But I was wrong again. Whatever money Laval is spending on these European components, they are definitely buying the best of the best. Their drivers are absolutely phenomenal. They sounded just a bit, and I mean a tad bit bright. Now, I'm a big fan of listening first and measuring second. I don't want the measurements to prejudice my opinion on how a product sounds. So let's take a look at these measurements.
It's at 85 dB, and this is what we see from the Lavals. Like, I want to make something clear here at just below 400 hertz. This is a room mode of mine, not a problem with the speaker. This is also a room mode of mine, not a problem with the speaker. And what you can see is at approximately 85 decibels, we've got pull down to 30 dB And even if you want to push it all the way down to 20, it is very impressive. Distortion is almost non-existent at 86 dB. We're talking about almost 50 dB between 40 hertz and the sound level here. It's non-existent. That's fundamental. It does get a little bit higher at 90, but barely. And then at 98, this is still really, really well under control. So I wanted to push it and push it hard to 104 dB at 1 meter. And what? Isn't there some change that's supposed to happen between these two? It's barely moving at 104 dB. Are you kidding me? There is virtually no difference in distortion between 98 decibels and 102, 3 decibels. It is really impressive. And here again is a room node. So you're looking at a bookshelf speaker from 30 to 20,000. Very, very impressive. Distortion very low. This is just gorgeous. I did say it was a little bit bright, and yeah, it does pick up a little bit after about 7K, but just a touch in your room, it just beautifully fades away all over the place. This is one hell of a speaker.
During this review, I didn't talk about the weaknesses of the speaker at all. So let's clarify. Like all products, the Lavals aren't perfect. It can't play down to 5 hertz. It can't play at 200 decibels 2 meters away. It doesn't have a built-in amplifier or Bluetooth. Basically, these are fantastic passive bookshelf speakers. And as passive bookshelf speakers, they will be rated as such. We are awarding these speakers a 2008 Abreu Madrana Ranch Capella. It's a blended wine, mostly Cabernet, and it's worth every penny of its $330 per bottle asking price. We are pairing it with a rare prime rib with roasted mushrooms served with a garlic butter mashed potatoes. It was soon after I awarded this infinite rating that I realized something sinister. These weren't audio Craftsman speakers. There's a saying in legal circles: if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and walks like a duck, it is a duck. So I was absolutely shocked when I first pulled the Laval speakers out of their box. Rustic orange, they are not. Scientific audiophile burnt orange, they are. And I have a patent on this color. I tried to patent this color, and the finish is satin on the speakers, not gloss, exactly like the color I tried to patent. Clearly my subscribers will be fooled into thinking this speaker is based on my channel. Look at the speaker in my jacket. So it's a fact that the Laval speakers look like scientific audiophile speakers. The sound signature, as you saw from the infinite rating, is exactly what I would have specified. Therefore, it's infringing on my frequency response patent. So it's also a fact that the Lavals quack like a scientific audiophile speaker. Lastly, notice how there aren't any holes in the bottom of the speaker that go directly into the cabinet. No holes on the bottom of the speaker that go into the cabinet. I have a patent on this design. So it walks like a duck, or better yet, sits like a duck. Therefore, I've decided to litigate and put my best lawyer on the case. And now I'm waiting for a massive settlement. So make sure you like, subscribe, and are notified of our future videos so you will know the ending to our lawsuit.